the north to the east to the south to the west. We've got to try and disrupt the actions of G4S, because it ain't no trip what they're doing in the Gaza Strip. So please wake up, don't kip.
I'm here today to protest at the G4S AGM against their appalling human rights record. One of the things that I'm particularly concerned about is their use of restraint on people, which recently led to the death of Jimmy Mabenga, but even before that, in 2004, there was a death that occurred at a secure training centre, which was Gareth Mayat. He was a 15-year-old boy, and he was restrained by two adults. I think he'd refused to clean the sandwich toaster in the secure training centre, and he was restrained and he choked on his own vomit and died, which shows that the company's not very concerned about keeping to human rights when it's dealing with people in detention.
G4S has an appalling record of treating its staff on poor pay and poor conditions. Particularly in this country, they're involved in a government scheme called Workfare, where especially young people who are claiming job seekers allowance and housing benefit, the government forces them to go and work for big companies for free. So this is basically free labour for some of the country's biggest and most profitable companies, and G4S uses this workfare labour. It's said to the government that it should be picked to run this scheme, because it promised that if people didn't show up for their workfare placements, that they would promise to arrive at the person's door within a couple of hours.
I think young people should definitely be involved in this campaign, partly because of the kind of Palestinian issue and how they affect youth in Palestine. Like a lot of the people who are in prisons in Palestine, a lot of them are child prisoners. This is something that hugely affects young people in Palestine, but also in the UK. If you've got a company like G4S who's running your police station, that's going to be a really big issue if you get into trouble with the law. There's definitely not going to be a good situation for young people in the UK.
G4S, from what we understand, is complicit in keeping notorious interrogation centres such as the Al Jalain prison operational, and we know that in those prisons children are kept in solitary confinement. Most recently, Arafat Jaradat, a 30-year-old father of two, was severely tortured to death, and the post-mortem revealed broken ribs. So we believe that Israel is responsible for war crimes, torture, genocidal acts, mass murders, and G4S now, a British-Danish security firm, is complicit because it's providing the security apparatus which allows Israel to carry out its war crimes.
A load of us have bought shares, so we've all got a share each and we're going in as shareholders, and we've got some plans to disrupt the AGM as it's going on.
G4S, what a bloody mess! G4S, what a bloody mess!
They're taking apart our public services, they're taking on lots of projects that used to be funded by the local authority, they're acting as a private police force. Obviously they run prisons, detention centres, they've just recently got a contract to run a sexual assault and rape crisis centre essentially in Birmingham, and they're a for-profit company, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. These are basic kind of human rights issues, they're violating them in their quest to make money out of people.
The questions we've got to be asking the government is we've got to say that privatisation is already proving disastrous, but handing control of public services to a company with such a bad human rights record is really quite frightening.
There's a lot of shareholders there who are angry and they're asking questions around G4S's human rights record and complicity in Israel's crimes, and obviously the Jimmy Mabenga's case has been raised a number of times inside the AGM already, which is very good.
It went really well. We had one person that did a signal, and during their presentation about the company, we started reading a speech about their human rights abuses in Palestine and in the UK and across the rest of the world. And we did lots of chanting, so we chanted who killed Jimmy Mabenga, G4S did, and also who killed Gareth Mayat, G4S did. We all got dragged out by security quite quickly, but before we did that we managed to unfurl a banner which said stop G4S at the front desk, so I think it went really well.
we campaigned against Ahava. Now Ahava was an Israeli company that sold Dead Sea salt products from occupied land. We protested outside of there and they're shut down. They're no longer there in Covent Garden. So we think that with pressure, continual pressure, sustained pressure, which is what Islamic Human Rights Commission is doing through its ongoing political prisoners campaign, we can actually get G4S to divest. And so far it has been successful. So we welcome G4S terminating or saying that they're going to terminate key contracts in 2015. But what we're saying today is that that's not good enough. They need to divest completely, and that's why we're here today.
So today we've seen an incredible coalition of people come together because of the different ways in which G4S are involved in human rights abuses. So we're from War on Want, an anti-poverty and human rights charity. We've also got anti-deportation campaigners, Palestine campaigners, anti-cuts campaigners. A huge range of people come together here today to protest against G4S.